does appear that there's a high possibility that something sinister is taking place here. We've asked all those agencies, the Department of Energy, NASA, the Department of War, to all share information with us so that we can see if we can put it together and find any missing links to try to solve what's going on here, because it's very unlikely that this is a coincidence.
There are 11 individuals. 5 of them went missing. 6 of them were dead. Of those 6, 2 of them were murdered.
Sometimes a pattern doesn't appear all at once. It builds quietly, name by name. Anthony Chavez, Monica Reza, Melissa Cassius, Stephen Garcia, William McCaslin.
I don't know that all of them are linked together, but I think what's important is to see that they may be individually linked to potential foreign intelligence services, espionage.
Then others. Nuno Luero, Caldwell Mayer, Annie Eskridge, scientists, engineers, researchers. Some are reported missing, some are reported dead, and some leave behind just enough to make you wonder.
Things of that sort, but of the missing individuals, I think it's odd. None of them had their cell phones.
Exactly.
Who leaves their home in this day and age without a cell phone? 2 of them had guns on themselves. I think one of them, her cell phone actually was found and it was factory wiped. It was completely wiped clean.
Phones, wallets, personal belongings, left behind as if they were never meant to return.
What do we know, if anything, about these 10 scientists?
It's actually more than that, actually, if you go back a little farther. But we know that they were in our aeronautical defense industry, or complex, just all around the spectrum on that. And it's
With clearance, many of them
high level clearance.
At first, these are isolated cases.
It is concerning. We do need to be careful. There are cases in there that are really important, like the general who went missing. You know, he didn't just walk off. I'm hoping it's not a foreign nation. I'm definitely hoping it's not anybody within our nation. But there are certain cases within that I think are worthy of our investigation.
But then placed side by side, they begin to look like something else.
People should look into Matthew Sullivan. He was scheduled to testify in front of Congress, and Rep. Burleson came out and talked about this. It was deemed credible and urgent because of his suspicious suicide. And I think people need to look into that. The FBI is involved, has been involved for quite some time.
Not proof, not evidence. A pattern. Or something that wants to be seen as want. In early 2026, something shifted. Public attention toward unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, began to rise again.
So the move follows a Truth Social post by the president in February directing the Department of War to publish files related to aliens and extraterrestrial life, as well as unidentified aerial phenomenons and UFOs. Trump at the time also slammed former President Obama for allegedly revealing classified information on the topic. Several Republican lawmakers, including Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett and Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, are calling for more transparency around releasing information so the public can make their own decision on the topic.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War to begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. That this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. So you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know.
Discussions of disclosure returned. And in April of that year, Donald Trump stated that his administration was looking into these cases as part of a broader push towards transparency.
New this morning, we are following some developing news at the live desk right now. The Trump administration releasing the first batch of UFO files. A quote now from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. These files, hidden behind classifications, have long fueled justified speculation. This release of declassified documents demonstrates the Trump administration's earnest commitment to unprecedented transparency. So, what's next here? Well, you can expect more document drops just like this over the coming weeks. The Department of War says more materials, videos, and pictures will be arriving soon.
A directive was announced to declassify certain materials. For some, this was progress.
We're at a turning point. For decades, we had to rely upon eyewitness accounts of housewives, truck drivers. People would snicker and laugh at them. Now we're talking about huge files that are top secret that for the first time in modern history are being given to the American public.
For others, it raised questions.
One lawmaker who has long called for UAP transparency isn't starstruck by the releases.
The stuff they're dropping right now is just, I mean, this is the deep state classic. You know, they won't show y'all some of the stuff that we've seen. They're going to show stuff that is easily identifiable.
Not just about what might be revealed.
A new batch of declassified UAP files have hit the mainstream, and it is a certified moment. Nothing irrefutable, nothing concrete, nothing even overly interesting, just the same old grainy footage of some weirdness in the sky and no further information about anything extraterrestrial or anything like inexplicable, just more moments.
But about why now? Because alongside this renewed focus, another narrative was forming. One suggesting that attention itself might be shifting.
Timing is everything, and nothing happens by accident in Washington, D.C. It's uncanny. You know, we've had these hearings in Washington. You have a president that says he's going to release stuff, and all in that same time frame, before and after that, you're having some of these high-ranking officials disappear.
We have some big Epstein news. There has been a breakthrough where an Epstein victim says that she has tapes of Donald Trump doing things that will force him to resign.
When we started talking about releasing the Epstein files, I'm like, this is a no-brainer. President Trump will just roll them out on a big cart himself, because obviously Bill Clinton is all in there, and Hillary Clinton. That's what I had been told all along, right? Well, it was the most shocking thing in a conference meeting. Come to find out, he was very much against it. And we've got to just put this away and stop doing this. And he said, my friends are going to get hurt.
Now, as she said, Marjorie Taylor Greene was the general of MAGA. She was one of the leading soldiers in the movement. And for the President of the United States to come out and say that to her and try to gaslight Marjorie Taylor Greene about what was actually in the files and his unwillingness to release them. And it's all looking like the President of the United States is very much so wrapped up in all of this. There is so much mounting evidence in all of this that it is so clear that there is something that we are not being told. There are so many stories about Donald Trump. There are videos, pictures that are not being released that we have been told many times exist. And perhaps that video one Epstein victim said exist sits in the 40 terabytes that have not been released.
There is no verified evidence connecting these ideas, but the speculation exists, and it spreads alongside the pattern.
We've heard rumors about President Trump potentially preparing for some level of disclosure about...
And I believe that. I had that very conversation with him.
So where is he on that? Is he ready to do that? And a follow-up on that before you get to it is, let's say he makes some kind of statement during the war with Iran. Do you think that sort of undermines, people might say, well, he's trying to distract?
They're always going to say it's a distraction, and this is just a distraction.
At the same time, federal agencies, including the FBI, have acknowledged reviewing several of these cases.
In a statement to CBS News this morning, the FBI said it is, quote, spearheading the effort to look for connections into the missing and deceased scientists. We are working with the Department of Energy, Department of War, and our state and local law enforcement partners to find answers.
Today, President Trump was pressed on whether he thinks the 10 cases are connected or coincidence.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left the meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you want it, whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short.
To determine whether any connection exists.
This is not normal. These are some of the most advanced scientists, researchers in our nation, some of the most important people for our nation's national security efforts, and they all just mysteriously disappeared. This is too coincidental, and so we have to be investigating this.
While the FBI doesn't have federal jurisdiction or primary jurisdiction in murder cases, there are some exceptions to that, but that's essentially why you don't see the FBI taking the lead role immediately in cases of that nature. But when it comes to matters like this, especially with the McCaslin disappearance, I think this directly implicates national security issues. The correlations that we see here are extremely disturbing, and I'm sure that's why Patel's FBI has gone into overdrive with conducting investigations into these matters. Particularly interesting is Amy Eskridge's case and what Frank Milburn had to say with regard to her, the use of directed energy weapons, things of that nature. I think all these things are going to be looked at and analyzed with a fine-tooth comb, so to speak, by the FBI.
So far, the answers remain uncertain. Some might be linked, others may not. Which brings us back to the names.